Folks, the reason you clicked on the thumbnail, we're going to take and talk about our AFC East season predictions. Now, how this is going to work, and this is the lay of the land for the episode. I'm going to say a prediction for a team. Mike's going to say a prediction for a team. Then we're going to move on to the next team. But at the end of the episode, we're going to talk about why we chose what we chose for each team. Okay, just real high level. And this is exciting, man. I'm really pumped for this episode. And my favorite team is in this division, man. So I'm very excited. But we're going to kick off the episode with the very controversial New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers. Can he take them to the promised land? I got him coming into playoffs still, probably the last spot at 10 wins. What do you got the Jets coming at?
I'm in that ballpark with you, man. The beginning of their schedule was absolutely murder's row. But I got them going 11-6.
Okay, I respect it. All right, next team, Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills, man. Look, man, they've had a lot of stuff happen. We're gonna talk about it as soon as we're done going down this road here. I got the Buffalo Bills also taking and coming in at 10 wins as well. Buffalo Bills sneaking at the playoffs, man. I feel like AFC East is gonna be a bloodbath this year. Mike, what do you got the Bills coming in at?
I got the Bills going 12-5, man. I'm definitely excited to talk about this division, man.
Ooh, okay. I'm going to pick your brain on that one. Then we move to the New England Patriots, who did not get Hopkins. Man, I was so happy for that one. But New England Patriots, man, I have them taking and coming in at a solid, scrappy 8 wins. They're going to upset some teams and lose to some pretty bad teams. That's just life without Brady, and that's just how it goes. But we're going to say more of the reason why in a moment. What do you got the Pats going at?
I got the Pats. They're over and under 7.5, and I'm taking the under. I think they'll be at 7 wins.
Oh, okay. Love it. And then the Miami Dolphins. I'm going to kick it off with this one. Miami Dolphins, I have them winning the division at 12 wins. It's going to be – look, I think Tua's still going to get banged up, but he'll be back. I'm confident. A lot has happened and taken place. There's important – we'll get into it in a moment. But 12 wins is what I got him at. I can't contain myself with the Dolphins. What do you have them going at, Mike?
I have the Dolphins. I think this division is going to be absolutely insane. It's already stacked, obviously. And I'm predicting Tua is going to be healthy this year. And with the healthy Tua, I could see them winning 10 games and taking the wild card spot. I think this division has the potential to have 3 playoff teams.
Okay, I love it. All right, and then let's bring it back up to the New York Jets. Now, New York Jets, man, very good draft. They beefed up that O-line, which wasn't absolutely terrible. They got Joe Tippmann out of Wisconsin, absolute mauler in the trenches. Carter Warren out of Pittsburgh. Carter Warren, man, is a very good, I would say definitely probably a top 10 tackle in this year's draft. Slid a little bit, and I was shocked to see that. They got Zaire Barnes, linebacker, Penn State, man. They got some good players, man. They got some really good players. But, of course, the most important player is the quarterback position when it comes to the game of football, and they got Aaron freaking Rodgers. Now, my question with Aaron Rodgers is he still hungry? We've seen him. He's like the white Donovan McNabb. He'll take you to the game right before the Super Bowl, and it'll all fall apart over and over and over again. That's why I have him at 10 wins, man, and I think that's generous, man. But they also have a beast of a running back. They also have one of the better receiver cores in the league, man. I think that this is a potentially most talented team. Like, if Aaron Rodgers can't win something deep with this team within the next 2 to 3 years, it really falls on him. Mike, what's your thoughts on the Jets, man?
Yeah, I honestly like this team a lot, and I really think they could push the Bills for the division. I had the Bills winning 12. I had them winning 11. I had the Dolphins winning 10. But
okay,
Will McDonald as the edge rusher, absolute monster. Already added the pass rush they have with Jermaine Johnson, Quentin Williams, they just re-signed, etc. They got Sauce Gardner. Their defense is going to be absolutely the best defense, in my opinion, in that division this year. Slightly, the Dolphins are going to be like nipping at their heels, but I think just with Robert Saleh as a defensive-minded coach, some of the pieces they have. The thing that you said in the beginning is the thing that I agree with a ton. What Aaron Rodgers are we going to see, and when are we going to see the Aaron Rodgers as a killer? So now the thing with it is Aaron Rodgers has been to more this offseason than he's been since he's been starting early in Green Bay. Offseason workouts, looks like he's enjoying New York, but I think he has 2 years left, and they really are front-loading everything with him right now. The thing is, they have that tough defense. They have a good line, and I love them adding Carter Warren, Joe Tippmann at that depth. They have a phenomenal receiver room. They need some work at tight end, in my personal opinion. Those guys have both had some injuries and stuff like that, so if they stay healthy, that's one thing. But saying that to say with the growing pains, and if you look at their first 6 games, there's a real chance they could be 2-4 after 6 games. They have like the toughest opening stretch of schedule in the NFL by a wide margin if you look at it. So again, I think like they could have a rough start potentially, and then the back half of their schedule eases up significantly. But because of that, again, I have them take a second place in division, a wild card team, and I think that they could make some noise, or they could just lose in the divisional round. Who knows?
Oh, I love it. I love it, Mike. That was a beautiful breakdown, and I feel like you brought up a lot of fair points, man. Very fair points. Moving on to the Buffalo Bills, just to highlight their draft. And again, like when we make this stuff, we try to be unbiased. I'll keep it real. I'm a Dolphins fan, y'all. Yeah, not fan. Let me turn the hat off the rest of the episode. My hat on the rest of the episode the right way. But I always try to be non-biased. I know a lot of players in the league as well too, as does Mike, and also our other co-host Soup. Shout out to you, Soup. Man, the Bills are a problem. They're still going to be scrappy, even though Josh Allen, he's one of the top quarterbacks for interceptions. Even though Josh Allen is having issues with his wide receiver, I think they're a team that's going to pull it together. But we could say that the Dolphins are in win now mode, right? We could say the Jets are in win now mode, man. You mentioned a beautiful statement, Mike. If you're a Jets fan, they're offloading everything. They want everything now, right? Tis the season. And then the Patriots, they're just a sneaky team that will upset a few of these teams here too. But when it comes to the Bills, man, the last 2 years before the season was kind of their time, right? There's going to be certain player salaries that are going to be kicking for people that they've re-signed. I mean, it's going to be real interesting. But this is where the rich get richer. Look at this draft: Dalton Kincaid, Osiris Torrance, Dorian Williams out of Tulane. If y'all don't know, Tulane upset USC and was one of the scrappiest teams of all of college football. Dorian Williams was an anchor in that defense. Lord have mercy. Justin Shorter out of Florida. That was okay pick. And then they got a tackle out of Ole Miss. Look, man, I love what they're doing. And then when it comes to the Bills' difficulty, they're right behind the Jets. They're number 7 as far as difficulty and schedule. I just think that, man, they're not going to be quite as good as last year, but that O-line did get better, and I can't act like they didn't. Mike, what are your thoughts on these Bills this year, man, and why did you choose the record you did?
Yeah. The reason I chose them winning that division and with 12 wins is because I think, again, they had to change something. They made a little bit of a philosophical difference. Now, I don't agree with, essentially from all reports, like them pushing Leslie Frazier out. Sean McDermott going to be calling plays again. So on defense, which again, Leslie Frazier had that defense humming. But here's something that they absolutely did do. You have Gabe Wilson, you have Stephon Diggs, right? And then they added Dalton Kincaid, right? Yeah. So that dude he was the best tight end in the draft, in my opinion. And I think that's going to be able to give he's going to help. He's a good blocking tight end as well as receiving tight end. So their run game, I think, and then obviously them drafting Osiris Torrance was my favorite pick by them in the draft. That was a guy that could have absolutely won the first round. They got him the back half of the second round, and he is an absolute mauler on the run game, right? He reminds me of some of the Pouncey twins, how they just used to lock on to people and destroy them, right? Like he's in that mold out of Florida as well. So I think they're going to get the ball out of Josh Allen's hands so he doesn't get hurt, right? Like, him running around, he's very dangerous, but I think they're going to lean in more on the running game. And then if they don't, being able to have 2 big tight ends and then having Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs is going to be able to help their offense out. And they'll take a little bit of pressure off their defense, where their defense, they can get up on their offense and just, release the brakes on defense and just get after the passer, pin their ears back. So again, I think this could be the year. Again, we've been talking about this the last few years. If not now, then I don't know when it's going to happen. Again, it's a tough road this year, but I know they're excited to play. Their fans are amazing. And, they have a good coaching staff.
Love it. I love it, man. All right, then we move on to the New England Patriots. Man, they potentially got the best cornerback in the draft, Christian Gonzalez. Wow. Then they got Keon White. It's kind of a project player, but has extreme upside out of Georgia Tech. And then kind of looking down here, they beef up their O-line for sure. O-line is always going to be an emphasis with these New England Patriots. My favorite pick, though, outside of the Christian Gonzalez, man, is out of an HBCU, Isaiah Bolden out of Jackson State. I love Isaiah Bolden. Let's keep it real. If he went to a bigger school, this guy would have been gone by round 3, maybe 4, because because he went to JSU. These NFL teams, they're just letting these players slide. It's messed up. But Isaiah Bolden, these Patriots are going to be scrappy, man. I have them missing the playoffs, man, but not because I think that they're a trash team. I don't. I actually have a huge respect for the Patriots, even though they're our enemy for these beloved Miami Dolphins. But I got to be non-biased, man. Coach Belichick is one of the greatest coaches to ever do it. He knows to coach up a team. And with him and Brady before, they were just the perfect storm. But now he has a quarterback who he's not too fancy about, right? Was even shopping at one point in time. So I think that they're going to be stuck with each other for, another year, maybe two. But this team, dude, this defense is going to win them games. And as I mentioned, they're going to upset some teams. They're going to lose to probably some bad teams as well, too. It'll be probably because of the quarterback play. Mike, what are your thoughts on these Patriots?
I got a hot take here, man. After this statement, I believe that they're going to absolutely win some games they have no business winning. They're going to lose some games they have no business losing. And I think this is going to be Bill Belichick's last year coaching. And the reason I say that is because him as the GM, and he's not going to give up that GM/coaching hat, right?
Okay.
This team has a void at receiver. You got Juju Smith as your best receiver, and he has shown that he is not a number one receiver. He's a very productive number two receiver. That's your best receiver. You let your best receiver last year go to the Raiders for the same amount of money as you signed Juju Smith for, and he's a better receiver than Juju Smith. Tight end, they're going to have that run again. They're going to have the O-line. They'll be well coached. They have a coordinator now, which is great. Their defense, their secondary is going to be great, right? Christian Gonzalez is a great pick. They had some of that, but with that being said, is they're void of talent right now compared to teams like the Dolphins, the Bills, and the Jets, who are going to try to win a Super Bowl right now. Now, again, they have one of the best coaches, if not the best coach in NFL history. So I don't think they're going to be like a 3-win team. But there's been that tension reportedly between Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick. And because of some of the picks this minute, like they drafted a kicker in the 4th round, who was not the kicker anybody thought was going to get drafted. So at this point, I think this might be Bill Belichick's last year coaching. I think they're going to win 7 games. They're going to beat a couple teams they shouldn't beat. But then I think he's going to retire, quote unquote retire, get forced out. And then, next year they'll do the traditional GM model, hire some coach. Well, I don't know, Bill O'Brien. I don't know who they'll hire, and then kind of move forward. But I do think this will be Bill Belichick's last year. He's 71 years old or something like that, 72. Great coach. He said he still has the juice. I just don't know how much longer after the dynasty they built Robert Kraft's going to be willing to put up with missing the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. It's going to be interesting, man. It's tough times for Pats fans for sure, man. Then moving on to the Miami Dolphins. My goodness, man. My beloved team, man. Look, I got them winning the division. It's not because they're my favorite team. I just feel that they have probably the most talented defense in the entire NFL. You have a quarterback like Tua, even though like when he came back from his concussion, didn't play so hot, still led the NFL in a lot of different statistic categories, right? I know a lot of people, his arm and all this stuff, and it's not the most accurate, but the guy has moxie to get it done. He's a bona fide winner, but he's also a bona fide injury prone person. And we have to acknowledge that, man. He doesn't like to listen to coaches, you know what I mean, when it comes to sliding and stuff, and he wants to go head first and try to truck people. But that moxie is what's made him successful. That moxie is by, week 3 going into week 4, he was the best quarterback and MVP candidate in the NFL. Now, that was very early on in the season, but we saw what he can do. And this team lost to a very talented Bills team to a 3rd-string quarterback. Now, this team has a lot more depth. And in my opinion, the most important signing for the Miami Dolphins, big reason why I give them the 12 wins, not because of Jalen Ramsey. That's huge, right? That's massive. Like, they got a lot of great players. It's because of Vic Fangio. He created the system that Brian Flores, former Miami Dolphins head coach, they very successful. And Flores, I will always love Flores, by the way. He became great because he would use these no-name players, and they would make these big clutch players in amazing moments. Vic Fangio's going to come in there. Then you have the offensive genius of Mike McDaniel. I saw my questions about Mike McDaniel, man, but I think Vic Fangio is the most important part of this team as far as new additions goes. I got him at 12 wins. I think they're going to probably lose a game to the Jets. They'll probably lose a game to the Bills. But I have them overall winning this division at 12 wins. Mike, what did you give them and why?
I gave them 10 wins, and I think they're going to be a wild card team for the reasons you stated. My biggest issue with this team now here, before I say that, the thing I disagree a little with you is I'm much higher on Mike McDaniels. I think that dude, how you looked at the Dolphins' running ability, the plays that he put out with the line they had, and I don't even think they have the most talented line, and they kind of started to get it chugging, especially when they made the trade later on in the season before the trade deadline to get the running back from the Niners that he's more familiar with Jeff Wilson, I believe, maybe. Their running game looked like a hemmed up a little bit, right? They have arguably between them and the Bengals the top receiving core in the league. The issue I have is I don't think they attacked as aggressively as they should have the offensive line. I think they should have did what the Kansas City Chiefs did on the line.
I agree.
And been a little bit more aggressive. And that worries me because I think if Tua is healthy, he has shown. And again, I've been a Tua fan. There's been times when you talking like, man, Tua is game. And I'm like, yo,
I've been up and down. You're right.
I think he's solid if he can stay healthy. If this dude can stay healthy, and that's the concern I have about him staying healthy, is because I don't think they addressed the line as aggressively as they should have. They addressed their secondary very aggressively. Cam Smith was a hell of a draft pick for them. And then adding Jalen Ramsey, like it was their secondary is going to be absolutely nasty. But saying that to say, I have a hard time picking a team that has had an often injured quarterback that did not address the line fully. I think if Tua could stay healthy, they're 100% on the running to win that division. I just have to see it based on the lack of moves I think they did make for that line. Again, I'm rooting for them. I'm a Miami Heat fan. I'm a Miami Hurricane fan. I have love for the Dolphins. My mom's a Dolphins fan. I'm a Broncos fan, obviously. So it's not like I ever wish ill will on the Dolphins by any stretch. I just wish they would have went into this offseason and said, we're going to be immensely aggressive with our offensive line, make the Jalen Ramsey move, draft Cam Smith. I get those things, but every other pick should have been on their line, and they should have been a little bit more aggressive on that. Now, Vic Fangio is going to be absolute dog, reuniting with Bradley Chubb. He has shown, worst case scenario, you'll have a top 10 defense. Best case scenario, you'll have a top 3 defense, right? But having a top 5 defense with that, or top 10 defense with the offense y'all could potentially have, is going to be absolutely nightmarish for teams y'all play. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this division.
Yeah, man, it's going to be exciting, man. I like what they did in free agency. I think that there's some competitions, but yeah, you're right, Mike. I mean, the OL should have been, it's that right tackle position, right? And it's that left guard position. I feel like left guard, they did a okay job of filling up. But if you're a left guard or a right tackle on that team, you should be fearing for your life that you're possibly not going to be starting. Now, a lot of Dolphins fans, the argument and the pushback, they will say, not me. Oh, well, Austin Jackson, he's jacked now. He's cut. Oh, man, that's great, man. But, like, we see this all the time, Mike. These guys get paid. It's a business, right? They get paid, and the work ethic kind of goes away. That hunger goes away. You know what I mean? They're not on food stamps no more. They're not on relying on coach to pay their cell phone bill anymore. These guys are multi-millionaires. So you got to keep people hungry, man. So he looks hungry. We'll see what happens. I'm optimistic, but we'll see what happens, man.
A signing I think y'all will make, and then I'll be done. This will ease a lot of the concerns you've been talking about. Dalton Risner, who was on the Broncos, is still a free agent. If they can sign Dalton Risner at guard, bro, that's going to ease a lot of that tension. That dude is an absolute dog, especially in the run game. His pass blocking is, he's like middle of the road pass blocking. He'll keep to a clean, but his run blocking absolutely insane. I think that's a guy that, like, depending on what happens in training camp after some of these battles, they could say, like, hey man, come down here, take a little bit less of a contract, no state taxes, give yourself kind of like a prove it deal, and that's a guy that could be down there for a little bit in that offense y'all have.
I can dig it. Yeah, the problem with Mike McDaniel, man, he gets attached to players, man, and I'm seeing it already. And if you're trying to build a championship team, you got to kind of be cutthroat a little bit, man. So, but we'll see. Hey, they're coaches. We're just, we're freelance NFL journalists at the end of the day. But should be interesting, man. In the meantime, you guys smash that subscribe button. Thanks for watching another episode of the Touchdown with Doug Smith.
Turn 100 for the touchdown. King crown, gain inside, leading your town. Hit you faster than the sound. Bad boy, throw it down. Yeah, I'm ill, not my will. Don't cop a fill the house. Listen to the roaring crowd. Drop a light, calm it down. Heisman, all the haters mouth. Superhero hit them wow. Packing more action than bing, boom, bam, pow. Touchdown for the win. We live, subscribe right now.